I want to make her look like spaghetti. With these words, 25-year-old Wade Wilson, in a phone call to his father, described what he had just done to 43-year-old Diane Ruiz, intentionally running over her body several times. This was already the second murder in 24 hours. Hours earlier, he had strangled 35-year-old Christine Melton, whom he had met in a bar. The investigation into these crimes took almost 5 years, and while it was ongoing, something strange happened. The killer, who had gotten a swastika tattooed on his face in prison, suddenly became popular on TikTok, where thousands of people began to defend him. How did a charming guy from a bar turn into a monster, and what makes people sympathize with a tattooed psychopath? Today, we will break down the complicated and disturbing case of Wade Wilson. In October of 2019, in the Florida town of Cape Coral, lived two women, Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz. They didn't know each other, but their fates would tragically intersect because of one man. Christine was 35. She loved cats and traveling. Together with her best friend Stephanie, they moved from state to state, always finding work at local cafes. In Florida, as usual, they got jobs as waitresses. Christine was very close to her elderly mother and always helped her. They were like two peas in a pod. Diane was 43. She had worked for 5 years at a bar that was just a few minutes' walk from her home. Her colleagues knew her as an incredibly responsible person who never missed a shift. Both women were just living their lives, unaware of what awaited them. It all began on the evening of October 6, 2019, when Christine and her friend Stephanie went to a bar to listen to live music. On the stairs, they ran into a guy who seemed to appear out of nowhere. It was Wade Wilson. That night, his face was still clear of tattoos. He introduced himself with a fake name, was friendly, charming, and joked a lot. Everyone was cheerful and drunk. Nothing bad was happening, Stephanie would later recall. No warning signs, no sense of threat. After the bar closed, the girls and Wilson went to another guy's house whom they had also met there. In the morning, when the group split up, Stephanie had to take her son to school. She warmly said goodbye to Christine, arranging to meet the next day. It was the last time she would see her friend alive. Christine didn't answer her phone, but Stephanie wasn't worried. Her friend had the day off and was probably sleeping in after the party. But that same day, police discovered her body in her home. Christine had been strangled in her sleep and wrapped in a carpet. While the city slept, Wilson, having stolen the car of the woman he had just murdered, was already looking for a new victim. On October 7th, he met Diane Ruiz, who was walking to her work. He stopped and tricked her into his car, saying he was lost and needed help. When Diane got in, he began to strangle her. Realizing she was still alive, he pulled her out onto the ground and ran over her with the car several times. He would later tell his father that he wanted to make her look like spaghetti. Diane's body with a broken neck was found 3 days later in the bushes by the road. Wilson was not a criminal mastermind. He left a trail of evidence behind him, from phone calls to his father to footage from traffic cameras. The most crucial piece of evidence was the call to his father, Stephen, in which he bluntly said, "I'm a killer." His father didn't believe him at first, but after a second call, he realized his son was telling the truth and contacted the police. Wilson was arrested on October 8th in Ohio. Local residents had noticed him when, bloody and shirtless, he broke into the home of an elderly couple. During interrogations, his story was inconsistent, trying to portray himself as a victim, but all the evidence was against him. Witness testimonies, camera footage of him driving Christine's car, and of course, the confession to his own father. The trial was delayed for several years due to the pandemic and other events. And while it was ongoing, in prison, Wade Wilson changed drastically. He covered his face with tattoos, including a swastika under his eye and other symbols. He came to each hearing in expensive suits, but the Nazi symbols on his face spoke louder than any outfit. The forensic examination revealed the full brutality of his actions. Christine's body showed signs of a struggle. She had woken up and desperately tried to fight back. Psychiatrists noted that Wilson likely suffered from an undiagnosed personality disorder, and his aggression was worsened by addiction. Even his own sister, in a letter read in court, called him a beast and asked him to be locked up forever. In June of 2024, the jury unanimously reached a verdict: the death penalty. Upon hearing this, Wilson sat with a completely indifferent expression and even smirked. But the strangest part of this story happened outside the courtroom. On TikTok, where videos of Wilson were getting millions of views, an army of defenders emerged. Why? Psychologists call this the attractive villain effect, or hybristophilia. Some people find charismatic and confident criminals appealing. Wilson, with his certain appearance and narcissistic traits, garnered sympathy from a part of the audience. To them, he's not a monster, but a misunderstood, tragic figure, a victim of circumstances. This is a dangerous phenomenon where behind a striking appearance and a show of confidence, people fail to see the real cruelty and pain that a person has caused. 2 innocent women were murdered with extreme brutality. One while she was just trying to have fun with her friend, the other on her way to work. The sentence has been passed, but it's unlikely to silence the pain of their families. And Wilson's strange popularity on social media is an alarming wake-up call for all of us, a reminder of how easily we can be deceived and take the side of evil if it has an attractive face.